A long time ago, in a place far, far away, some Chinese alchemists made some boom boom substance called gunpowder. I think you know where this is going. Welcome to Europe. The wave of plagues just ended, the Hundred Years' War ended, and the printing press decided to increase the literacy with books. New monarchies began appearing and decided to centralize power since the end of feudalism, and the middle class grew. During this time, kings used divine right to rule, which slowly led to kings like Louis XIV becoming the literal dictator of France and making the Palace of Versailles. During this time, the Catholic Church let people buy their way out of hell and pay for positions. So Martin Luther, no, the other one. So, some guy named Martin Luther threw a fit and wrote down 95 reasons why the church sucked, and with the printing press, his ideas went across Europe, which led to the Protestant Reformation. So the church did the Council of Trent, and they kinda fixed everything. In 1547, Russia's Tsar Ivan the Terrible, son of Ivan the Okay, decided to expand Russia's territory east, taking control of the land from the Mongolian Khans using gunpowder. The reason was quite simple: fur. By the end, he had conquered all the barren wasteland and Siberia. In 1368, the Yuan dynasty got its feelings hurt by the Chinese, and the Ming dynasty came to power. The Ming wanted to forget all about the Mongols, so they fixed the bureaucracy and made the civil service exam come back. The Ming expanded the Great Wall and did some other stuff, but then the Manchu got mad and seized power in 1644, making the Qing dynasty, using gunpowder. Oh, and the Qing dynasty used portraits of leaders to legitimize their power. In Japan, there were numerous city-states, like feudal Europe, which involved daimyo using samurai to protect them and their territories. After a while, the daimyo got bored, so some Tokugawa guy decided to centralize power in Japan and close it off for good. Remember Tamerlane's Timurid Empire? Well, Tamerlane sucks with money, and his empire fell. So Osman, Ismail, and Babur decided to build some big freaking empires. Osman made the Ottoman Empire, the sick man of Europe. But not yet, he's just balding. It had a great start by taking Constantinople and making it Istanbul under Mehmed II, using gunpowder. They built amazing mosques like the Suleimani Mosque to legitimize their power, and some guy named Suleiman decided to be cool and redecorate, if you will, using gunpowder. The Ottomans used Devshirme, the taking of enslaved Christian young boys, to either supply the army with Janissary elite soldiers, or by employing them to the bureaucracy. Ismail made the Safavid Empire and conquered a bunch of stuff at 15 years old, using gunpowder. What have you done? Sit around? Anyways, Ismail made Shia Islam the main religion, while the Ottomans were Sunni, which led to a lot of board disputes. While the two brothers kept bickering over religion and toys, Babur decided to establish the Mughal Empire in North India, and Akbar made it greater, because unlike the other empires at the time, Akbar showed religious tolerance to all the people of his empire, which led to Catholic churches, Hindu temples, Islamic mosques, and Sikhs being allowed under one roof without anyone fighting, unlike those two. An important thing to know about is Shah Jahan's Taj Mahal, which helped legitimize power. So yeah, thank you for watching.
You've got mail.
Hey, let's take a look at this conveniently timed email notification containing advice on how to do well in your LEQ. This part of the test is definitely the hardest of the three writings, and to quote Mr. Renz himself, most students struggle with the LEQ because they lack specific historical knowledge, and they lack that due to copying their friends' notes all year long. What this means is that you should do your own notes. People seriously underestimate the amount of information that can be extracted from chapter notes, and it's also worth around 40 to 60 points every week throughout the year. So please, and I cannot stress this enough, do your own notes. Also, if it takes more than 3 hours max to do your notes, you're doing something wrong. Make sure to extract information rather than copy down the important parts, and you'll be fine.
Hey. 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 We would like to trade, please.
Europe decided they wanted to trade. Europe decided to use new technologies from China and Dar al-Islam, including the Latin sail, astrolabe, and magnetic compass, and created new ships called Portuguese caravels for travel, Portuguese carracks for trade and travel, and Dutch flutes for trade. The main reason Europe wanted stuff was because they wanted monies, bragging rights, and God. Let's go into detail. Mercantilism was a belief that in order to get more money, other places would have to get not more money, which led to colonies. Basically, Europe is a bunch of toddlers that want all the toys for themselves. Europeans also love Jesus, so they really wanted to force other people to like this Jesus guy. Oh look, it's Portugal. Oh, you're stuck on the left side of Spain. Well, don't worry, just use these, you'll be fine. Okay, so you got to Africa with Diaz, and then got to India with Da Gama. Cool. Hey, think fast. Who was the man who discovered the Americas in the first place? Time's up. It was Leif Erikson, but we're gonna talk about the other one, Christopher Columbus. Chris was ambitious, too ambitious, but it worked in his favor when the Spanish monarchy sponsored his journey around the other side of the world to India for spices. He didn't make it though, but he thought he did, and that's why they're called Indians. Anyways, he logged his journey and then proceeded to trade with the Indians, but then decided later to trade by brutally woman and child he could find. Oh, and then he killed a bunch. But that's okay, because Chrissy Boy started an exchange known as the Columbian Exchange, which was the exchange of plants, animals, inventions, diseases, and people from the Old World to the New World. Also, the Dutch, French, and English got in there too. You know how it was super cool that Europe discovered the Americas? Except it wasn't. Europe brought over a bunch of diseases like smallpox, which basically killed 50+% of the population, but that's all in the past now, right? Said Europe to America. Hey, do you want to keep the land that's rightfully yours? Europe said. Yes, the native said. Well, we're gonna take it anyways, said Europe, and they pushed them out of their territory and established some really big colonies. You know what would be fun? Europe thought. What if we force not just the natives, but the Africans to do our labor? And they did. They traded them everywhere, which eventually became the transatlantic slave trade. The Congo Kingdom really liked that one. This became part of an even bigger and cooler, not really, triangular trade between America, Europe, and Africa. Why is it called that, you ask? Because it looks like a triangle. And what did this triangle accomplish? A lot, that's for sure. Africa sent slaves to the Americas, and the Americas sent cash crops like sugar and tobacco to Europe, which were fostered in large slave plantations, and Europe sent textiles, manufactured goods, and guns to Africa. And the cycle continues. Hey, what's going on, Africa? A lot. And the Mali and the Trans-Saharan trade have a lot of gold. You know who else like gold? It's Europe. Let's export it to the coast. Oh hey, is that East Africa? It is. They're the Swahili now. And the Kingdom of Great Zimbabwe, you know what they did? Export gold and salt and slaves. Yeah. Speaking of slaves, they were chattel slaves, meaning that they were the absolute property of their owners and had to follow orders. Ah, the good old times, to be young and not free again. Hey, Japan wanna... Oh. On a different note, the British East India Company established some trade posts in India. Hopefully, they'll only use it for trade and don't exploit the failing relationship between the Hindus and Muslims, right? In more detail in America, the natives were all decimated. Pizarro and Cortez took care of the Incas and the Aztecs using gunpowder and stuff, making all of America a Spanish colony. Oh, what's that, Portugal? You have a small colony off the coast of South America, and you and Spain both want that land? Oh, okay, let's ask the Pope. Okay, here's a straight line. This is Portugal's part, and this is Spain's part. Happy? Speaking of the Americas, I wonder how the natives are doing. Ooh. The ones who aren't 6 feet under are working for the white Spanish man in exchange for food and shelter in the encomienda system, as well as being forced to adopt Christianity. At least some, combine their religions with Christianity. It's all great. Oh, I bet you thought Britain got to India first. Nope. In 1497, Portugal thought, what if we took over the entire Indian Ocean trade system? And so they did. They took all the spices and all the trade and got super rich. Now, because Europe wasn't already rich enough, they decided to milk trade even more with England and the Dutch, making things called joint stock companies, which are companies where private investors finance exploration and expansion rather than the government. Also, Europe hoarded a bunch of silver and gold due to mercantilist policies using silver and gold mines in the Americas and other colonies. Some even created stock markets, like the Dutch, and greatly expanded the volume of their products. Now, you might just think that the natives just surrendered to the conquerors, but some rebelled with events such as Metacom's War in the British colonies. Africans fought off the Portuguese too, like when Queen Nzinga decided to get one of her servants to get on all fours so that she could talk to the Portuguese face to face. Plus, some Russian serfs had long faced hardship rebelled. Oh, and the Mughal Empire fell. Even people in Mexico rebelled. Maybe it wasn't all bad. Right, Europe? Oh. Well, apparently England is having a bit of a power struggle about letting Protestants take the throne, called the Glorious Revolution, in which the Protestants won. With all this crazy stuff happening, social change was, of course, sure to happen. And it did. And even lower were those of different religions, like natives in the colonies. Plus, the Spanish had a whole system just to discriminate against natives and slaves. And the Ottoman Empire, captured Christian boys rose to power and tried to unseat the Sultan. And this is honestly when the Ottoman Empire started to catch a cough. Also, women in harem politics, where concubines would try to get their sons to be the next sultan to gain power, allowed women to play a huge role in the Ottoman Empire. Also, Jews who were expelled from Spain used the Ottoman Empire as a sanctuary. In China, the Mongol leaders of the Qing dynasty were making some people very upset, especially the Han, who often suffered great massacres, like Liu Longzi, who literally killed all of Jianying. Hey, here's a familiar topic, inflation. Because of all of the economic and global expansion of trade, so much new money was introduced that inflation happened. And yeah, that's basically all for Unit 4. Thanks for watching. Peace!